Good afternoon. This is Debbie Broughton, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from St. Robert, Missouri. I'm on just a little bit early to try to get my camera set up correctly. I rearranged my desk so I have everything in different places, so I didn't know for sure how crooked this would be or how off-centered. So I'm just trying to get it fixed right. There we go. I think that's pretty good. Plus there's a glare on my laptop, so it's hard to see. As you can see, we're having a very sunny but cold day today. Luckily we have the sun, or I don't know how much colder it would be. Some night within the next week it's going to get down to -6 at night. I am not looking forward to that. If you're on, if you could say hi or let me know that you're there, that would be great. I'm just kind of giving it about another minute or two because I did get on early just because I didn't know how much I was going to have to do to get things to look right, but that went pretty quickly today. And whenever I do a live, my dog Herbie thinks that I'm talking to him, so he just has to sit right next to me with his head on my lap, trying to see what I'm going to do for him, because he knows there's nobody else in the house to be talking to. So, have you gone on and saw the new kits in the kit collection that started at the beginning of February? And we also have more items in the celebration than the ones just in the brochure, so you really want to check that out. For every $60 you spend, you get a free item, and there's some items that are free when you spend $120. It's always a great time to stock up on things at this time of the year. Okay, it says I have 1 minute. I have a little bit of a cold today because last weekend I was at my granddaughter's softball tournament in Branson, Missouri, and it ended up to be colder than it was supposed to be. All week it was saying we were going to have 50s on Friday and 70s on Saturday, and then it changed to 40s on Friday and 50s on Saturday. So you could just never plan on the weather. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. And if you jumped on and you don't quite see the beginning, you can always rewind when it's over. I like to watch a video when I'm going to make the cards. I like to watch the video and then watch it again when I'm making the cards. So this is for everyone who spent $50 or more in January. They get a free class. It's 4 cards. And then I send them the pieces to make it. I can't stamp any images, so you just get all the pieces to make the card, and then I show you how. And lots of times if there's a stamped greeting or a flower, you have something else in your stash that you could substitute for it. So let's see, which card should we make first? first, I'll explain to you about this time. We had a new kit that came out in November. It was Nature's Prints, and it's watercoloring. So I sent everyone a piece of the watercoloring so that they could make a card with it. And rather than do the whole watercoloring thing on this video, which would make this one be very long, I did one yesterday on YouTube for my customers who don't have Facebook to show them how to do their watercoloring. I didn't do the whole thing on all of them because it's basically the same once you get started. So they're going to trim these down to be 4 by 5 1/4, which I did for these two, but I did not do for this one because I didn't know if the people who got this one would want to cut around it. You could do with them whatever you like once you get them. And then I gave them a basic beige card base and a piece of white for the inside, because there again I didn't know what colors they were going to use, so I thought if I went with a neutral color, and if you want to on these, you can cut them even smaller, cut them to 5 3 3/4 and put a background color. Like on this one I might put real red and then trim this up a little bit, because right now see how it's just the right size top to bottom. Well, it's not, it's 4 1/4, so you got to cut off 1/4 of an inch. But even when you cut that off to fit it on the front, you're not really cutting out too much of the design, except for on this one you might want to be sure. Like I said, you could cut this one out around. I will show you. I also did this watercolor. There's a video on Facebook about this watercoloring, how I showed you how to do the sunflower. And then I showed how to do some of these flowers, and then off camera I went ahead and finished and made them into a card. So that is how, and I will put the link to the YouTube video in the comments so that you go and look and see how to color these in, or watercolor. So let's get started. Again, if you're here and you wish to say hi or something in the comments, that way I know people are watching. So let's see what card we're going to make first today. I have them here in this basket. So I think that we will make this card first with the Storybook Friends. And this is what I did on, oh, I didn't really glue this in. I like to leave them not down in case when I stamp the inside I mess up. But this is how I decorated the bottom. Used a little bit of the DSP I had left over, cut out a square of the DSP just to carry along. Now, you might not get these two characters or the same house in your kit, but you will have something comparable because there's only 2 of each thing in the pack of DSP, so I had to make more than that for these cards. So, and I also had to use a different color of DSP for mine. Everybody else is going to get, it'll look just like this, but mine is different. So I used this sheet of the Timeless Plaid, which I think is very pretty. And here are all my things that I needed. Except for I don't see a second cutout. Well, perhaps I only gave myself one. Oh, I know what I did. I was going to cut this one out and put it there. And here's the little square one for the inside. It's the exact same one I put in on the outside. So let's get started. Let me put my glasses on so I can see correctly. And first we're going to take our DSP and decide which, you can either use this side or this side. I like the plaid side better for this card. So I'm just going to add some of my liquid glue on the back. And I'm going to add this to this card front piece. This timeless plaid paper is 6 by 6. So if I cut it at 3 3/4 and 5 for the length, I haven't enough of a piece left over to do the flap on the envelope, like here. So, let's see. There's really no stamping on this one. Next, we're going to take our house, and I'm pretty sure that I've cut these houses out so that they will fit right in this rectangle. But now some of them might fit this way, some of them might fit up and down. Either way is fine. It's just that there's only so many houses to cut out of the DSP. So I'm just going to put, here my dog has decided to bark. I'm just going to put a little bit of my liquid glue along the edge of this frame. And then I'm going to add my little house behind it. I'm going to add it this way first so I can see. And then I can move it around a little bit when I get to this side if it's crooked. So I can move it down just a little. It just cuts off a little bit of the chimney, but that's fine. And then I'm going to put this on here this way. I know that it's opposite of that way, but like I said, some of these papers, you only have so many houses on them. I'm trying to get it because I went over just a little bit over here, but I could just cut that corner off. I'm just going to cut this corner off just so it's not coming through the holes here. And I can see it down here too. You might not have noticed that, but I did. Whoops. I don't want to cut too much. There we go. Now that looks great. So let me put some more liquid glue on the back. Now you just want to put some maybe dots of glue here because you don't want the glue to come squishing out those decorative holes. Okay, and now we're going to raise these two up with dimensionals. I have to cut this one out first. These are just so many cute little things in the DSP pack. It has 2 pages of these punch outs. It's one set of designs 2 times. And then you also have the paper where you can cut out some of the little creatures. So I'm just going to kind of quickly cut this out. They're pretty easy to cut out. There are some dies that cut out some of them on the paper. And then the stamps that you have more creatures to stamp and color in and use the dies to cut them out with. But I thought this guy was pretty cute here, so I decided to go with him. Trying to decide if I really want the water pitcher in there, but yes, or the watering can. Okay, and then we're going to pop this one up with the dimensional. Now we're going to get our glue dots. And in your package, you should have gotten a little plastic bag with some ribbons that I've already tied the bows with, or cord, or twine. So let me get the green one out. I went with green because this pattern has a little bit of green. My pattern has a little bit of green, so I thought we could just have a spot of green with our dimensionals. I mean, with our ribbon or our embellishments. So there we go with that. And then I used these matted dots, the classic matted dots. And let's see, let me find my pick-a-tool. Let's see. I think that these look more like vanilla, and I gave so many vanilla out when I was filling up my packets that now I just have little ones, but that's all right. I'm going to put one up here, one maybe right here over this little slit. And then one down here. So there we go. The only things we have left, I just sent this in your packet in case you wanted to use it for something. It's the piece that came out of the middle of the frame. Sometimes I keep those little pieces in case I have another card I want to do something with. And I'm going to need my, here it is. My basic beige piece, and I'm going to glue this at the bottom. Now this is not going to be long enough to fit all the way across. That's why we have the square to kind of hide that this didn't reach all the way. So I'm going to make, let's see how I did it on here. I left a little bit of an edge around the bottom and the right side. And then I added this piece that I cut out with the stylish shapes dies. And I'm going to put it right over here. Trying to leave the same amount of space of white space on the side as I did on this side. So there we go. Get it straight. And then we'll put this in the card. We will glue this to the card front. I like to look at it before I push it all the way down because usually I'm crooked, which I am right now. And that's again why I use the liquid glue rather than the Stampin' Seal, because I get a chance to fix it when I get it down there wrong. Then one last thing we're going to do when we finish with this card, we're going to take our envelope. We are going to add glue all the way across it, trying to be sure that you get these corners so that it doesn't get ripped off in the machines when it goes through the postage machines. And then we're going to lay our piece right like this, smooth it down, and then we're going to trim it. Again, it just takes you a few minutes to trim it. And now you have a matching envelope for your card. And this one. So we finished now with card number 1. Well, actually, card number 1 was the watercoloring that I did the YouTube video for. So we've already talked about that. Okay, so card number 2. Let's go on to card number 3. Let me get it out of my box here. Be sure that I can get all my pieces. Now, after I found one of these dots already came off our card. You know, once it gets stuck to your finger, it's really hard to get it to turn over to be on the side to stick on the card. Okay. I might just have to get a different one. Because now I might get all the sticky off of this one from it being stuck to my finger. Yep. Okay. They're laying right here. I'll get another one. There we go. Okay. So this is a shaker card using the beautiful butterfly sweet items to make this. So let's get started. These are the embellishments that I used. And I changed it. Now we're going to make it so it has a white butterfly there in the middle. I think it will look better. So this is for our inside. And this is for our greeting. This is the window sheet. And this is the card base. So we're going to first start off with creasing the card base. You know, I forgot to put some Wink of Stella on the first storybook one, but you could Wink of Stella the frame. I think that would look cute to have it all sparkly. Okay, so I have this creased. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take this white butterfly, and we're going to take this piece, and we're going to lay it on here where we are going to put it when we put it together. So you want to look like, you don't want to put it down, you don't want to glue it down yet though, because you got to get the window sheet behind it. So you just want to, then you're going to lay this. First I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue. Again, you don't want to get liquid glue leaking out, because then the sequins are going to want to stick to it. So you just want to put very little dots of glue on here. Because it's going to lay pretty flat anyway. Now I messed this up. I'm trying to be sure that I'm in the picture. So I have that pretty even. Now I'm going to stick this right down into that shape. Okay. Now what you can do, if you think that you might have got some sticky on the outside here, you can always use your embossing buddy, as soon as I find mine, to take away any sticky that's there, because you don't want your sequins to stick to it. Okay, so now we have that ready. So next we're going to work on this part. We're going to take our window sheet, you know, it gets stuck to this glass mat so easily, and it picks up everything. So we are going to add some glue right around our butterfly. Again, we don't want to put so much that it squeezes out and gets on front of the window sheet where you're going to look through it. So we're going to place this so that it covers up the butterfly. Shaker cards are not really that hard to make. And people love to get shaker cards. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to fix it up so that this is raised off of there. And we're going to use our adhesive strips. In your pack, you'll find I gave you 2 strips, and that'll be plenty to go around the whole butterfly. So let me get this piece out, because I might as well use. Can we tell that it's stuck to the paper, to the plastic bag here? It must have got in there crooked or something, or upside down, and the sticky part is up by the bag instead of down. Okay, you know what? I will just fool with this later and get it out of there. We'll just start with 2 new ones. So we're going to take one. Now some people say it's easier if you take off the top piece of paper before you start putting it around the butterfly. But I have better luck if I use that paper on. And you don't want it, you know, you kind of want to go right around the edge. And it's going to be hard here, like where the antenna are. But if you make too wide of a border, some of your sequins are going to get hidden back there, because they'll be able to go all the way up underneath the berry burst paper. So I'm just kind of carefully going along being sure that and it's nice using these long strips. Now you're just going to have to realize, I could take it off now because I have it on. You're going to have to realize when you take your next piece, you want to put it right up to the piece that's on there so you don't get a hole. So I'm going to put that right up to there, and then I'm going to work my way around again. And I want to come right back up to this piece and tear it off so there's no space there for a sequin to get through. I can't see any of my white on this side, which is good. Now you have the rest of this. And you can either, if you don't end up with any at the end, you can always use dimensionals, but I'm just going to use these to kind of raise up the whole thing. That will kind of help raise up the whole thing. Now we're going to do the fun part, which is we're going to put in our sequins. So, these are the sequins you get. They're called the Itty Bitty Bokeh Mix, and they're a mix of a whole bunch of different colors. But if you look in your kit, if you get these, there are some that are like actual embellishments, rounded and raised. Well, if you get those in your shaker card, they might get stuck because they're so much thicker than the sequins. So what I've been doing is I've been taking them out when I see them and putting them in this other container, and I can use them as regular embellishments on a different card. Now I've stuck my whole arm in the butterfly. I'm going to move that up there. So I use this side to kind of pick through. There's actually many more than you think when you first look at it. When you start looking for them, you see a lot more. Here's another one. Okay, so oh, here's one. I didn't realize that those were in there, and I did get some in this card, if you can see, but sometimes they do want to get, if they get stuck on top of the other sequins, they get too high, and then they get stuck, like it's stuck right now. There you go. So I started taking them out now, because I had no idea they were in there when I did that card. Okay. And you have a little baggie full of these. And I tried to pick out all the actual gems. So now I'm going to take some. And you're going to probably need more than you think. I think I gave you like 6 pinches. I didn't know how else to measure them. And I'm just going to kind of dump some down here because there's just so much static on them. They get stuck on my fingers and I can't do anything else. So I'm going to put about that many on there. I think it's because it's cold outside and it's dry in my house from the furnace that I just have a terrible time with static with these little things. So we're going to say that's good. And we're going to put the lid on this so we don't spill it. I don't know, I always think I need more. If you happen to think you need more and you have some different color sequins, you can always add some more of your own too. It's just hard to kind of guess how many to put in a little baggie. Okay. So now we're going to be sure that we take off all the white paper on these. And we're going to carefully center this back over our white butterfly. See, I really don't push down very hard on this until I have it completely where I like it, because sometimes I like to change it. I had too much on that side. Okay, we're going to say this is good. I think it's off some at the bottom. Oh no! You want to press really hard on your strips of adhesive to be sure that they're down. There, I saved it. I don't see any more coming out, just those 3. That's because I didn't push it down really good in this corner. So now we have a shaker card. So we're going to add our little hello here. I have the hello. I have a stamp block. I have Berry Burst ink. So we shall go for it. As soon as we find the little oval. Now to have more coming out the top, I must, oh, there was one stuck underneath it. You know, this worked perfect when I made my sample. But of course, when you're videotaping, things don't quite work out as well. I'm going to have to decide what to do. I might have to try to put another strip in there. So, after I put all those extra ones in there, now I'm just losing them all over the place. I don't know why this corner doesn't want to stay down. All right. You want to just be sure that you press very hard on all the strips all the way around the butterfly. Because even if they're up just a tad, it's not because there's a hole there, it's just because they came up off the paper. So, we're going to just push these up here. We'll get them off later. So, now we were trying to find our oval. Here it is. With our hello. I like it when they're the photopolymer because you can see exactly where you're going to stamp. Okay. Now we're going to use some twine to put behind there. So now I'm going to get out my tear and tape. And take a piece of tear and tape. And make it be about as long as the oval. If it gets a little bit too long, you can trim it off. Or you can fold it over after you take off the white paper, which is what I'm going to do. So see how I'm hanging over the side a little bit there? I could take off the white paper, and take this piece of glue that's hanging out and just kind of roll it over there on the other piece. And then you got your finger stuck to it. So next I'm going to take my linen thread. I'm almost out of this. I have more. And I'm just going to kind of make some loops with it. You know, I'm going to kind of like loop it, then stick it back to the tear and tape. Loop it again. And stick it back on the tear and tape. And then make some loops down at this end. They don't have to be the same size. Just kind of like in a circle or an oval. So there we go. We're going to trim this off. Using my ribbon scissors. Then I could put some dimensionals on the back here. Because I don't want to stick this right down to the card because it'll be kind of lumpy with the linen thread back there. We'll take off the tops. And we'll add this right here. This will be our inside. And somewhere I do have a pretty peacock butterfly cut out. And then these are the gems that I use, these pretty peacock ones that come with some petal pink ones. They are called Petal Pink and Pretty Peacock Foiled Gems. And I'm gonna take one off here and put it up here. And maybe a little one and put it down here. And my last big one up here. Now if you wanted to, you could get some Wink of Stella and Stella around, or you could Stella the pretty peacock butterfly that you're going to put into the inside. But there we are, card number 3, with a few less sequins there. I think I have it down now. It must have been trying to get stuck on a sequin when it tried to lay down the first time. Okay. So now we're to our last one. And I found my pretty peacock butterfly. So we're going to put that up there so I remember. We're finished with the... What I have here is some passport holders, but they make great little envelopes. Or not actually envelopes, but holders for my embellishments. And then I can stick them in a thing and I can take them out. And they don't fall off as often as when I used to have them loose. Or trying to fit it back into the little bags they came in. Now we are going to try this beautiful butterfly one. Or, there is a beautiful butterfly, but it's the Spotlight on Nature stamp set. And this I used the beautiful butterfly dies to cut that out. Here's our embellishments. Here's our card base. And our pieces of white. So save one of these pieces of white for the inside. And then we're going to take this here and we're going to line this right up. They're the exact same size and it should be pretty well centered, because mine looks pretty well centered on there. And this is the same oval I used, or same circle I used. And then you could take some Post-it notes, which is what I'm looking for. Oh no, here's some. Okay. So we're going to take some Post-it notes here. Just to have this stuck down so I don't hit it, or when I'm trying to color the inside of the circle I mess up. I use this, or I use painter's tape. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to kind of make this sunset look in the background. So we're going to take our Daffodil Delight. If you don't have the blending brushes, what you can use is a sponge dauber. We used to sell some sponges that you could use. I was trying to think if there's something else. That's about it. You can't really use the stamp pad to do it. So I'm going to use Daffodil Delight. I'm going to kind of bounce a little bit there. And I'm still going to hold this down so that right near the circle is for sure down. And then I'm just going to lightly add some Daffodil Delight to about 1/3 of the circle. And it doesn't matter if you get it on your mask here, because you're not going to see it anyway. For some reason, now see, I forgot to dab off. Now I've got a dark yellow up there. Sometimes I like to show you what not to do. Do not do that. I was able to smooth it out pretty much though. Okay, so we're going to say this looks pretty good. Next, we're going to get some Pretty in Pink. Again, we're going to get some ink on there, then we're going to blot it off so we don't get it too dark. And we're just going to fill in the middle 1/3 of the circle. With some pink. I got like a line up there now of pink in the yellow. I'll have to see if I can fix that some way. Okay, I'm just kind of going over a little bit of the yellow right where it runs into the pink. And next I'm going to put in some Balmy Blue. Now if you wanted to, you could do yours straight up and down. I did mine at an angle. I don't know why. I just did. So that's why I'm doing the second one the same way, but you could go straight up and down. Okay, so I want to get some of that Balmy Blue off there. And then again, I'm just going to fill this in at the bottom. With some Balmy Blue. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my Daffodil Delight. And I'm just going to very lightly go over the whole thing. Just to kind of give it a more shaded look, a more watercolored look maybe. So there we go. It kind of made my water look too green. I must have got too much yellow down there. It's not my water anyway, it's my sky. There we go. Okay. Don't take off your Post-it notes yet, because now you may not have the Spotlight on Nature stamp set, but I'm sure you have a flower or a tree or some leaves or something that you could stamp. And you could stamp them where you still see the stems coming out of the circle, but I like mine to be just in the circle. So let me put these flowers on here. Let me put this hello right. Now, you know, later I'm going to be saying, where did I put that stamp set? And we're going to get some Memento Tuxedo Black. And we're going to ink this up. I want to be sure that I go low enough on the stamp that I get it on there. So I'm going to kind of go this way with it. So that looks pretty good. Plus it covered up that pretty and pink mark I got in the yellow, in the daffodil. And now I'm going to put on the butterfly. It has this beautiful butterfly here. And I want to move this Post-it note because I want to see. No, I'm not. Because I'm not putting that up there. I'm putting it down here in the circle. There we go. And like I said, you could use anything to put in the middle of yours. Maybe you have like Forever Fern, or, you know, that has a bunch of leaves, or a tree. Anything would look nice in there. And we're going to take this off now, and hopefully it's mask it, and there it is. And the last thing we're going to do is put Dear Friend. I need another blank. Dear Friend down here at the bottom. That comes also in this stamp set. This card is just so fast and easy to make, but I think when you do something like this where you mask off the middle of your card and color it in, just looks so pretty. And then I took some Wink of Stella and I did the butterfly. I know that lots of times you can't see the Wink of Stella in a video, but believe me, it sparkles it right up. And if you wanted to, you could do the flowers too. So now I'm going to need my glue dots again and find my little bag with all the ribbons in there. Here it is, and I have this light yellow ribbon that I tied it, or twine that I tied into a bow for you. And I'm really not sure why I decided at the last minute I had to cut these. Unless I gave you something so that you could use it on your watercoloring. I used like a neutral color. So we'll say that's what I was thinking. I cut these several weeks ago, so I don't really remember. But I didn't have a card that has them on there. So that must have been it. Okay, so we're gonna just use a glue dot here. Oh no, it it just came all up, it just untied. There, I got it. I pulled too hard on the one side. And I'm going to put it right down here, and I'm going to cut these tails shorter. Have my ribbon scissors right here. There we go. This bow is not wanting to cooperate at all. Then we're going to glue this to the front of our card. That's the inside that's showing. And then you can put this piece. Just be sure if you glue this piece to the inside that you use your embossing buddy or something to dab it in case you got any glue coming out. Then that will make it so it won't glue shut. So I'm going to glue this on, but I'm not going to glue my inside down yet because I like to wait till after I stamp my greeting in there. There we go. Card number 4. So these are our cards from today. Butterfly. Another butterfly one. Let's see if this goes on the inside. Another butterfly one. And a Storybook Friends one. And of course we have the watercoloring one, which I would love it if you posted pictures of how your watercolor cards came out after you finished watercoloring. And on the YouTube video I show what to do if you don't have the watercolor pencils, if you don't have a watercolor brush or a water painter. So you can get a lot of tips from there. I hope you have a great and wonderful rest of your afternoon. Bye.